crap.
Kendall got covered.
Oh.
Zoom out. Some technology that we haven't used in a year and a half.
Yeah, that's pretty neat that y'all can zoom in.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to give probably 1 or 2 more minutes for some more students to join. Yeah, we are definitely hybrid on campus. All classes are in person at this point. So it's been nice to see students after the crazy year.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give it 1 more minute. Good to see some of y'all on here.
Costumes in the background.
Yeah, it's sort of a training day. Yeah. Right.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm sure we'll have people joining us after this, but for those students on the call, I'm sure I've met most of you, but I'm Julie. I'm the Director of Career Services. So if you haven't come by our office, please do. So today we have Perkins and Will Austin. They're going to be presenting on their firm and work. And so thank you all so much for being here. And I will pass it over to Allison if you want to start introductions.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we can do introductions while you can still sort of see us, and then we'll flip over to our presentation. But I'm Allison Binford. I'm an architect and a senior project manager with our education group here at Perkins and Will Austin. And I think I'm actually one of only a few, or maybe a couple, that's not a UT alum, but I'm very excited to join you all today.
Hi, I'm Sajwad Dehban. I'm a UTCRP grad, and I'm an urban designer here with Perkins Will.
Hi, I'm Kevin Kinsey. I'm a UT grad from the architecture, with a master's in architecture, and I have worked for Perkins Will in the Dallas office and the Austin office.
Hi, I'm Vish Panchal, and I'm architect at Perkins Will, and I did not graduate from UT, but I graduated from University of Houston.
Hi, I'm Uttara Ramkrishnan. I'm an urban designer with Perkins Will. I'm also a UT grad, did the urban design program.
And I'm Lynn Peterman, project architect, also a UT grad, Masters of Architecture.
Hi everyone, I'm Kendall Klaus. I also went to UT, got a master's in architecture, graduated in 2017, so been a few years. I am in the branded environments group here, but I also work as a sustainability advisor, working on all different types of projects.
Great. All right, put this in presentation.
No,
Yeah, I gotta share and then.
Okay, good. I was going to say, let us know if you need anything.
All right. Okay, going here. So thank you everyone for joining us. We will kind of touch on a few different areas. As you already heard from everyone here, we have a broad variety of roles and people working for Perkins & Will, including architects, interior designers, graphic designers, We have researchers, which we'll talk about in a little bit, urban designers. We also do landscape architecture. We have our branded environment group that Kendall's a part of. And we also have writers who help us with some of our branded environment, our marketing, and other roles within the firm. So hopefully you've heard of us before, but if not, we're a global firm. We started in Chicago in 1935. We're now over 2,300 employees worldwide. And we're sitting at about 45-ish in Austin right now, but we are hiring quickly, so we're growing fast here. We do a lot of work in higher education, in the university sector, as well as sports. And then just getting to a little bit of the stuff we'll talk about today, something that's really important to Perkins and Will, and I think all of us who, part of the reason why we work here is the core values of the firm. And that's kind of what drives the purpose in all of our work. It helps drive what types of projects we work on, what types of initiatives we take on, and what we really value within the work environment here. And so you can see this in the corner: design excellence, diversity and inclusion, well-being, research, social purpose, sustainability, and resilience. So we'll touch on a few of those just to give you a little more insight to what that looks like here.
So if you click on it one more time, Allison, we have been leading the industry in terms of sustainability and resiliency as a firm, but we've recently rebranded our focus to be more inclusive of other things like regeneration and inclusion and well-being. So a holistic approach to what we call living design, as we see this change in our values and how our industry is focusing on what's important in our environments. So we have several initiatives in firm-wide and in the office. We have a firm-wide living design team that focuses on integrating what we call sustainability performance reviews, tracking performance in our projects, and helping different project teams, working with clients and integrating different strategies. And then at the local level, we have a team that helps build resources and helps different teams in integrating those living design strategies as well. So there's 5 different perspectives that make up living design, as I just hinted to: inclusion, resilience, sustainability, regeneration, and well-being. For inclusion, it's about integrating diverse populations, ensuring that human, plant, and animal life is treated in a fair, equitable way. Resiliency is focused on designing and adapting to shocks and stressors. Sustainability is about ensuring that we're maintaining performance with our designs over time. Regeneration is about how a system can replenish its own life sources, renewing and restoring itself over time. And well-being is about how we can allow systems and people to thrive in the environments.
Okay, so Perkins Will has put in place what we call research labs. And what the research labs does is they collaborate with academia and the other experts throughout the world. And obviously to ensure that we are staying up to date with the forefront of architecture, and also kind of including, these modules and categories in design process, human experience, mobility, energy, building technology, resilience, material performance, research, journals, and innovation incubator. And so the main goal is to kind of keep moving forward in the leading the industry in the research and what's going on, and finding new ways to kind of enhance lives, enhance places, and contribute to the common good. And so this is a kind of a couple of initiatives, projects that kind of involves our research lab team to improve the project and create ongoing innovations. Every year, Perkins Will, in the time of spring, we host a kind of a in-house design competition in which you spend a weekend on the competition, you have teammates, and then you share the design competition after it takes place. So it's a really great way to engage people throughout the firm. And we have annually we do a DEAR review, which is a design excellence annual review. And what it does gives an opportunity to share our projects across the whole firm, like in all the countries that we have our offices located, and people get a chance to learn more about each individual design concept of each project, and then kind of study more, and then you can go in depth, and then we kind of rate and how we can improve the design year by year.
So we're going to show you, we'd love to host you if you ever want to come for an in-person tour, but we'll show you a little virtual peek into our office now. And I'll just put a plug out there. If you are interested in coming in person, the AIA is doing a Women in Architecture event for college students or recent graduates. And there's a lot of events surrounding it, which includes tours of local architecture firms. And so we'll be part of that tour on Friday, November 5th at 4 p.m. So if you're interested, we'd love to have you. And you can check out the AIA Austin website for that. So we are in the Foundry building, which is at Comal and 4th Street, kind of just east of 35, a few blocks close to the Plaza Saltillo train station. We're located on the ground floor, kind of right as you come in the door. So this is the entry into the main portion of our office, and you can kind of see reception and lobby area there. And then a little bit looking further, the office design, and Kendall jump in, the commercial interiors and branded environments team within our own Perkins Will Austin office designed this. So there was a lot of thought about integrating our Perkins Will branded colors, which you'll kind of see in the columns and the furniture, and then kind of keeping the rest of the space pretty neutral. Really showcasing the materiality and then emphasizing flexibility in the space. So you can kind of see the curtains, you can kind of draw back and forth depending on what events are happening. Conference room space with lots of visibility between, so you can see what's happening and kind of get a peek into what other teams might be working on. So here's a view looking the other way, just kind of that gathering space we use for lunch, for office meetings, for presentations from vendors, a variety of uses. And then a couple of areas as you move back into the office. This is our materials library here on the left. So really nice space to store all the different samples, binders of different material options. And that's something also that's part of our Living Design initiative to really curate that and make sure all the materials that we're sourcing meet our requirements and our goals in terms of sustainability, resilience, and that's all we keep in our library. We try and weed out anything that doesn't meet those requirements. We have some fun areas too, a conference table that converts into a ping pong table.
Which we haven't been able to use in so long.
Yeah, so sad. And for those of you who weren't on quite right before we started, we're sort of back in office. We're working a hybrid, and I think that's going to be an ongoing theme for us permanently. Of course, we're all working remotely during Most of the start of the pandemic and ongoing for quite a long time. We're now back in the office 2 to 3 days a week. But everyone kind of has flexibility on what days make sense and what times make sense for them to be in the office, and the rest of the time we're working virtually. So it's nice to be back in our space and able to use some of these spaces again. And then these are the actual workstation areas. So everyone has their own workstation. We have kind of a variety. You can see a little bit of that in terms of furniture, some tall desks. All of these shorter desks you see in the foreground are all sit to stand. So you have the option to work however you please during the day. And then little breakout rooms throughout the office. Those little glass enclosed boxes are for little small team meetings, group huddles, need to jump on a conference call, variety of uses. And with that, we're going to jump into some of the different projects we've been working on recently in the Austin office and beyond. And we'll start with our education group.
Great. So the education practice is one of the older ones in the Austin studio. So started about 10 years ago. And this year, we've done a lot of work in the Central Texas region, San Marcos all the way down to San Antonio, up a little bit north. The sort of Waco is the dividing line. And then we have a Dallas office as well that works in K through 12. And so we did a lot of work for the San Marcos ISD, their bond, and this was a ground up new elementary school. This was a big project for our office. It was the first like fully designed, fully supported one within the Austin studio, and finished in 2018. And the interiors is a unique sort of design for an elementary school. It's very open. They have these classroom pods that actually do not have doors on the classrooms. There's a lot of flexible space. The space you're seeing here is the heart of the school. That's the library. Color is used throughout with Central Texas motifs. You can sort of see the San Marcos River graphic on the back wall there. But color is used for wayfinding throughout the school. And also we have a lot of opportunity here, and this is a big push just in general with the field of architecture, is reusing and renovating structures that exist. Structures have a lot of embedded already energy in them, and so if we can just make good use of the building stock we have, and so a lot of places, school districts are doing this, and this is a real huge facelift to a middle school. You can see the image that was the original school, very.
That we did not do.
We did not.
I just want to clarify that.
We did not design that. No, that is clearly 80s architecture from, yes, that just typical school architecture. And really bringing this middle school up to middle school standards, where it feels a little more just higher at, you know, a little more high tech. So you're seeing sort of a glass entry there, and that's, again, the library is right in that double height space. So these are exciting opportunities for the education. And you'll see also a higher ed renovation project here in a minute too.
Another project, which this is a rendering here, we're getting close to completion of construction right here in Austin. For Austin ISD is Eastside Early College High School, an international high school. It's over near the ACC Eastview campus, if you're familiar with that area. And this was the first ground up new high school for Austin ISD in over 20 years. So it was a big opportunity to kind of create something new, really create a modern high school for the district. And it was also an interesting project because it incorporated a lot of historic salvage and reuse and trying to recognize the past of the site. This was the location of the original Black high school for Austin that eventually got shut down by court order because Austin ISD had not desegregated as of the 1970s. So there's a lot of history in the site and a lot that the surrounding community and the alumni of the original high school really wanted to recognize and showcase so that future students could learn from it. So we kind of had a blend of the old and new, and it sits on top of a hill, so it's really visible from the surrounding neighborhoods. So hopefully we'll be able to offer some tours of this in the near future. Another project this is one of our earlier works, one of the first projects in the Austin office out in Manor, their senior high school. And this project was on an existing site where they have their athletic facility. And so the big move here was we were kind of set back from the road, kind of out in the middle of a field. So really trying to call attention to it from the street and pull people into the space. And there's an interior shot. This campus is for 11th and 12th grade only. So it's a kind of a unique model for the Manor School District, not something they had done before, but they really wanted to focus on student futures and creating a pathway for those students to take the next step. So the central area here, they have their college and career center right off to their side. And they have mentoring spaces up above. And the idea is that college recruiters, military recruiters, training school recruiters, all of these people can come in and talk to the students about what their future opportunities might be. And then the rest of the school focuses a lot on career and technology programs to help get students ready for whatever that next step in their lives may be. Just really close to the UT campus, we have a project that is just wrapping up design for the Seminary of the Southwest, right, kind of 32nd Duval Street area. And this is taking another renovation project. So it's taking your existing kind of 1960s big massive block library and an old classroom building and renovating the whole thing, still keeping the same program, library and classrooms, but really opening it up, creating this outdoor space, connections to the indoors and outdoors, and modernizing the library to be more of a learning commons setup, less of a bunch of rows of stacks, and make it more open and welcoming to the students who use it for studying. And then these are sort of in progress photos. We're almost wrapped up on another project here in Austin Community College at the Highlands campus. So this is the old Highland Mall, which ACC purchased and has been kind of going phase by phase, converting the mall into a community college campus. So this is the phase 2 of the campus. And this took the main portion of the mall, the old food court, the old sort of central spine of the mall, and converted it into specialty spaces, specialty labs for the ACC specialty programs, including radio, TV, film, music performance, theater, health science, and then you can see in the top right here, their culinary program, which is huge. And so this is actually a teaching kitchen in the background, and then a restaurant that the students cook, serve, and it's open to the public. So check it out if you ever have a chance.
Okay, so thank you. Another studio that we have in Austin is the CCC studio. So that's corporate, commercial, civic, cultural as well. There's kind of a soft fourth C, depending on how you say it. But yeah, so it's a really wide range of projects. This is a very young studio in the Austin office. We've been here for, I think, 2 years, a little over 2 years. I worked in Dallas in the design studio there, and I actually worked on a bunch of CCC projects in Dallas, and so it made sense when my wife had an opportunity to come here and join the CCC team. So this was this is the Epic in Deep Ellum in Dallas that was recently completed. Where actually phase 2 is almost built, almost constructed. It'd be over here in this image. Just trying to do something simple but dynamic with these clean boxes that shift. It doesn't show up in the image, but these are actually outdoor spaces that start to covered outdoor spaces that are sitting on when these blocks move past each other, which, it's funny to look back at these projects that this was something that we at Perkins Will has always been very wellness focused. Getting outdoor spaces in office buildings is something that we've been doing for a while, and now in our more recent work, it's almost been client directed because of the pandemic, that people are really looking for it. This is something that we worked on. Unfortunately, this project got postponed when COVID hit, but this is a residential and office tower. So residential tower and then a platform, a full block, city block plinth that's all office, offering some really big floor plates with a huge atrium in the center of it, which again, you can't see in this image, but sort of elevated park. Again, with that large amount of green space, that would be a space shared by both the residences and the office space downtown. This is another project that I worked on in the Dallas office. This is the Cover My Meds headquarters in Columbus, Ohio. And again, this was for a company that was very much about outdoor spaces. This project actually connects directly to the river. These people in this office actually go kayaking as a group. So they bought this site that was directly next to the Scioto River that they can actually bring kayaks down. There's bike trails as well. And the idea was you could bring that bike trail and pedestrian network into the center of the office space. This is a two-phase project. Phase one is almost completed. It's really exciting to see some of these as they've been constructed. This is a project that we're actually working on directly next. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the coffee traders on the east side. So this is our offices would be right in the picture here to the right that you can't see, but we're very close. And this is a competition we won to do an office building here. And this is, I guess, what I was talking about with the coming full circle with the outdoor spaces for office buildings, that we designed this to have deep usable balconies that are all the way around the office building on every level, so that everyone has access to nature and also access to the outdoors. Putting them on all sides and having these, you can kind of see that there's varying depths to these, that it allows you to find, no matter what the climate is, whether it's the hot summers, on a hot summer day, you might want to be on the north side where there's more shade, and in a cool winter day, you might want to be on the south side where the low sun can warm you a little bit. So everyone can find their climate zone that they want to be at outside to work or entertain. And then one very close to the UT campus is a student housing building we worked on. Lynn, you helped on this one too, correct?
Yeah.
That's one of the nice things about being at a big firm, is that you sort of end up working with a bunch of different studios on different things, tying into education and Lynn's project management experience, project architect experience. So this is another one. This one is starting construction very shortly. Kendall is also working on this one in interiors and sustainability. So we're excited about this. This will be the first completed project in the CCC studio.
All right. So in urban design practice at Perkins Will, we work through a lot of varying scales of projects spanning from like large regional and national plans and economic development, strategic plans, all the way down to small area plans and site plannings that we collaborated with our landscape architects and everyone on. So we're going to go over a few of those today and showcasing some of our specialty planning efforts, such as campus planning, innovation, ecosystems, and mobility.
Area plans?
Yeah, and area plans. So we do a lot of different focuses on our project work. And in this first one, this was the National Strategic Economic Development Plan for the country of Kuwait, combined with the Kuwait City Master Plan update, in addition to multiple small area plans for various places in the country, such as like the port that is going to be their new economic driver that is getting built right now. So in order to achieve this multi-scale planning effort, our entire strategic planning effort got laid out on a multi-scale national framework index that was from like 6 kilometer blocks at the largest scale, that all the way down to like 100 meter small blocks that carried like zoning ordinances and design guidelines for different aspects of building a city or a place. But at the larger scale, it carried strategic plans and set development guidelines for how the country should be developing. And throughout this whole system, we also established the reevaluation system that would test out how the plan is reaching its targets and set future goals for plan updates that will be coming on in future decades. This project was the concept plan for the city of Mecca, which, if you are familiar with, it's a global city, holy site for Muslims all around the world, and has a relatively small population, but sees millions of visitors every day because of the Islamic religious act of pilgrimage. So about 3 million people come to the city in a very small site in 1 month. So it has a challenge of how do we set up a city that serves its population, but is also able to service 3 times its population in the span of 1 month. So this whole idea of 8 guiding principles that some are top-down policies and some are bottom-up guidelines coming together to establish an incrementally developing city that is built around services such as infrastructure and mobility, but also serves the needs of the people as well as visitors. That was being established through redevelopment of existing settlements, infilling existing developments, and building out new projects in the whole city. And in this quick GIF, you can see how the entire city plan would play out throughout a whole 100-year span of the main timeline of the plan life. And you can see how the city would get built out for the next 100 years. It's pretty cool. And with that, we're going to go into one of our campus planning projects.
So like Sandra mentioned, we do a lot of university campus plans here in Austin. Yeah, and so this is one of the projects which we completed pretty recently, which is the Florida State University. So it actually the project consisted of 2 campuses in Tallahassee under the Florida State University umbrella. And as with a lot of these large-scale, particularly university projects, there's a lot of interaction with university stakeholders, students, obviously, faculty, staff, community members. So there's a whole process of engagement that you actually go through before you start devising, the goals and the strategic plans for the university. And the main focus of this project was to, look at ideas of retaining and improving student and faculty diversity, strengthening identity, and also because it's in Florida, there was a lot of focus on resiliency aspects as well. So we also work very closely with the landscape designers, landscape architects in the firm, who really help sort of lead that conversation, the living design, as well as, architects always kind of come up with all these really beautiful buildings that, which are just blocks in the way we design, right? Yeah, so this is, so coming to another project, which is the Oklahoma City. There actually consists of 3 projects here rolled into one. So it includes the Oklahoma City strategic development plan for the blue area highlighted, which is about 1,400 acres, designed for the Capitol complex, which is kind of indicated there to the north, and also coming up with an innovation district. So the whole project actually builds upon a previous study which was done by an economic development institute called Brookings Institute. And mainly the project is focusing on the sort of marginalized area of Oklahoma City, which is the east part of the city. So like I mentioned, it's sort of 3 projects kind of folded into one big thing. And we have like a one big report which came out of this. And so the development plan included a lot of elements like historic preservation, zoning changes, infill development. There was a lot of street design, transit and open space design. So for those of you who know, Nelson Nygaard is also part of Perkins Will, and they're the transportation planners as well. So we work very closely with them to come up with, actually design good streets where you can walk and you would like to bike, and not just like drive a car, but also coming up with, circulators, internal circulators, buses, and those sort of ideas for this. So this project, we also, as with a lot of big projects, right, we work very closely with economic development consultants, and there was also a lot of focus on sustainable development strategies. The project was focusing a lot on creating new jobs and equitable community development. So the images you see here are kind of the sort of bridge expansion that we proposed, connecting this eastern side of Oklahoma City to downtown. And Kevin also worked on this project. Actually, he designed like some really cool things for it. Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of crossover between the studios, which is great.
And this is a project which we completed very recently, right in our backyard over here in East Austin, is the George Washington Carver Museum Facility Expansion Plan. For those of you who don't know, they're a very sort of prominent African-American cultural institution here in the city. And talking about community engagement, right? So the project that it included a lot of robust community meetings with various members and key stakeholders to understand their existing relationship to the center, how they use the place, and also to understand their imaginations for the future. Now, this was a really fun project. We collaborated with people who focus on memorial and remembrance design from our North Carolina office. So that's another thing. There's a lot of intercity, intercountry cross collaboration, which happens as well. And there was a lot of focus on understanding the cultural history, the collective memory of the Black community here, particularly in Austin. And what you see on the slides are sort of the site and programmatic proposals that we have for this particular building. So it included, apart from like designing the open spaces to facilitate the various activities that happen here at the community meetings, we also have these, there's a new gallery, they wanted a new education wing, a new theater, and so all these sort of cool things are happening over here. So hopefully you can visit this pretty soon. Yeah.
So now I'll talk a little bit about corporate interiors and branded environments. We have had the opportunity to do a lot of really cool spaces in Austin, including this first one showing here, Spreetail. We have, as you know, a lot of companies are moving here to Austin. It's a cool, hip place, and we're seeing a lot of commercial growth in terms of office fit outs downtown and throughout. We meet with the clients and to go through a visioning exercise to identify kind of their likes and dislikes. And then we work with them to develop a color plan and different materials. And so this is just a really fun project that we got to work on that included some fun elements. Blue Apron is another one. Some of our, it's fun that each different project has a very different identity. Our law clients usually have sort of an aesthetic that they go for versus the tech companies versus companies like this one, Blue Apron. This one was cool because they were really interested in health and well-being, so they wanted to incorporate a lot of greenery and biophilic principles or strategies into their space, including this green wall. Like I mentioned, we work with a lot of tech companies, especially nowadays, including Frog. This is an office down on South Congress and in one of the new buildings that's gone up on the sort of the northern part of South Congress. We have, through the pandemic, been more focused on helping our clients address issues with flexibility. We've seen a lot of clients move towards sort of a hybrid, including ourselves, hybrid work models. So we've been helping them and develop work plans in terms of how they could change their space around in the event that this just depending on how things change in the next year or so. We also get to do some fun one-off projects that are not so commercial office based, including the Yeti store, which you guys have probably seen or been to. It's fun to work with them to think about creative ways of integrating their products, for example, Yeti store. So we get to have fun with some different materiality and different types of props, like the boat that you see there. And then Branded Environments is it's a newer studio within the Austin office as well, also about a couple years new. And we do projects that are as small as something like this, which is branding an event that we're hosting soon, to piggyback off of Allison's offer. If you all are interested in coming to check out our office and or the building, we are hosting an Austin studio tour event. We're hosting 50 artists in the space next door, but we'll also have our doors open to guests. And that's the opening event is November 11th, and then it runs the weekends of November 13th, 14th, and 20th and 21st. But just a little bit about what you're seeing here. We worked with Concept Animals, which is a group or community that came about through the pandemic. Several Austin artists were looking for a way to have some sense of community. And so they created an online crit group. So artists were able to meet once a month to critique one another's artwork. And those are the artists that will be represented in this show. But we were inspired by the fact that they were all strangers to one another, just looking to come together. So hence the name Howdy Stranger. And the flower component came into play as we were thinking about how all these different individuals came together to form one, symbolizing, I guess, the flower. We also work on installation projects. So we're working on Chimp Haven. It's a donor signage outside of, it's a chimp rescue facility in Louisiana. We are developing signage that honors those who are donating to keep this place up and running. We think about materiality in these instances. So we're being careful with our selection of wood. So because there is a concern with using hardwoods like ipe that are contributing to deforestation and affecting primate habitat. So we're using a wood that's more sustainable, and also being careful with how we're applying the different plaques. We also we collaborate with several of the other projects that other studios are working on. So this is Renown. This is a hospital project that Houston and Dallas studios are working on. And we help to develop a brand or cohesive vision for all the different spaces. So you can see there's some consistency in terms of design strategies being implemented, organic shapes and fun, playful movement and colors. And then Kevin talked to this project, the West Campus Student Housing. We also did the same in terms of helping to develop a brand and a name and a color palette and material palette and wayfinding strategy for this housing project. It's going to have several fantastic amenities that any of us would be so lucky to have as students, including a yoga studio and a boxing studio and a maker's space and several basketball court, just several fun ways to make this student housing unique for the client.
And we also get to do some fun things. So these are two things that our studio, just from internal, like a group of people saying, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we submitted for this? And this was one of those things. Submitting for Creek Show, and a group of about 9 to 12 people really put on this whole thing. They acquired the tents, they got the structural engineer on board, they did the calculations. I mean, all sort of grassroots effort, and had, a fantastic time together. And also it sort of shows in the end product, and a great run for Creek Show 2018. And then, all
the tents were donated.
All the tents were donated. Yes, so also highlighting, it was a statement about sort of the issue of income disparity and income inequality and the houseless issue in Austin. What did I just do? Sorry. How do I escape?
Scroll back.
Okay. Yeah. And then also this past year, actually during the pandemic, a few of us were involved in Fortlandia. You might know that at Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center, they have these various constructions throughout. There's about 9 or 10 of them. And we did this last year. We came together, again, working with a local fabricator who did the fabrication of the steel supports. There's a woman in East Austin who has bamboo on her property and harvested these for us. And then we had a whole lot of manpower from our studio to lash all the bamboo together and then zip tie it to these structures. And this was up for about 5 months, but I think was really great. Well, one, for us to get out of our homes at that time and be in the beautiful environment of the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. But I also think so many appreciative families of getting their kids out and able to sort of explore these different follies, if you will. So always looking for other opportunities to expand our design reach and just having fun with it. I don't know why I can't.
There we go. And so lastly, before we wrap up and open up for questions, careers at Perkins and Will. If you're interested in joining us, we would love to hear from you. We do hire for internships all the way up to full-time jobs. If you are interested, you can go to our website, and there's a careers link at the top where you can go to this website here, and you'll see this kind of page I've snipped here, and you can look at our internships, fellowships, just general what positions are available and sort by city and type of role. And then if you follow us on social media, on LinkedIn, Instagram, you'll see we've started really a hiring push. We've had a lot of growth, especially here in Austin. So we're definitely looking to hire. And so we've been kind of highlighting work perks, things we think are cool and unique about working for Perkins and Will. And we've touched on some of these. So this one about the top, about the innovation incubator, we think that's pretty unique to Perkins and Will and something we can offer to our employees. We have lots of other things that you'll see highlighted, like our Leadership Institute for people who have been with the firm for a little while and are looking to grow leadership skills. And this is sort of an opportunity to have leadership training, meet with everyone up to Phil Harrison, who's our CEO, and kind of understand what that leadership and advancement path looks like at Perkins and Will. So check it out or reach out to any of us if you are ever interested in working with Perkins and Will. And with that, I think we can stop sharing here so we can see everybody's faces and open it up if you have questions or just want to comments, talk through anything. We're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you all so much.
Absolutely.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So
You're breaking up.
We're catching every other word or
So
every
break it up a little.
fifth word.
Let me mute and see if someone else has a question. I'll try again if my
Okay. Or maybe without a camera too. Well, if that helps.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
And my name is Sophia. I've been a big fan of Perkins and Will for a long time. I am more familiar with your Miami office. I worked for a landscape architecture firm down in Miami, and we would collaborate sometimes. And actually, I think my bosses are long-term friends with the principals in the Miami office. And I'm at UT Austin in the CRP program, so Community and Regional Planning. And I saw some of the projects that you presented definitely have a planning component to them. But I was wondering, what are the kind of skills that you guys look for hiring planners? Because I see that your graphics are amazing. And so I was wondering, do you guys really look for strong graphic skills even with potential planners?
So I'm gonna take that on and say graphic skills are not a necessity because I'm horrible at them myself. And so in our urban design practice, we usually look for a diversified set of skills. So personally, my strength is information modeling and GIS analysis. So if you have that on, that's a part of the team that is definitely needed. We're definitely lacking in that part when it comes to our projects. We're personally, I'm always being asked to join teams all across the firm because that skill set does not exist in their office. So yes, non-graphic skills are very welcome.
Thank you so much for the answer and also for the presentation today.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll try one more time. Hear me.
Yes, better.
So I'll just start from the beginning. On the left, I didn't catch your name in the checkered shirt, but you said that you're a sustainability advisor, and I'm just wondering if you can talk a little bit more about that role and. Yep.
Yeah, so I've been very interested in sustainability since I started studying architecture. And as I've developed and gone through architecture school, I really saw that the industry needs more champions. And so I kind of took it on myself to help the Austin office. And now I've joined the Firmwide Living Design team, and I really have enjoyed it. It brings purpose to my career. So I have kind of set aside the architecture component. I still do design, so I'm still involved and I understand all, the whole process and detailing and all that. So having that knowledge has been very useful. But I'm stepping into the advising role, which is I will, and we're developing this currently, but I will come into a new project and help facilitate a kickoff meeting, and we walk through several different living design strategies. And then that helps us develop goals for the project. And if we're going for any types of certifications, I will help to put together a plan for that and presentations to meet with the clients. And then we work with the team and the client to track that performance throughout each design phase to ensure that the strategies are being implemented and just staying on top of it. Architects and designers have a lot on their plate, so it's another knowledge bucket to really grasp. And so I'm there to help kind of handhold and help designers and architects in terms of implementing and making sure our buildings are as sustainable, resilient, and inclusive as possible.
And in the Austin office, are you the sole individual in this advising role, or is it a team of people?
So I am the only sustainability advisor, but we have a living design team, and each of those team members can be as little or as much involved as they want to be. Vish is part of our team, and he champions the energy lab and our speed modeling program, which helps do daylighting and energy analysis. We also have other members that are more involved in developing tools and resources, and others that just are there to champion and stay tuned to what the firm is working on. So there is the opportunity to be involved, even if it's not an actual advising role.
Great to hear. Thank you so much.
Thanks, James.
Hi, I'm Rashmi. I am a third-year PhD student here. I am a historic preservation architect, and I'm looking into 3D scanning and modeling and how it's used in historic preservation. So I saw you had some adaptive reuse projects and also the Mecca redesign project. Did you use 3D scanning for that? Do you have an in-house team, or do you outsource it?
Do you have one specific?
No, you can go.
Yeah, so on a healthcare project I worked on, we had an existing building that in the OU campus on their new medical center, and we did a 3D scan, but it was a separate company that we hired out.
Yeah, we've had some education projects where it's historic preservation, or the one I touched on where it was more about salvaging and reusing. Again, that was, we used an outside firm for the historic preservation one. I don't know. I personally think that's something that would be interesting to see more of in-house at Perkins Will, as we're starting to see more and push more towards reusing buildings and trying to recognize and respect the history of the community and the building that's existing. So I would love to see more of it in-house, but typically it's been outsourced.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm a fourth year interior student, and I was wondering, with the interior designers at Perkins Will, like, are they mostly working on one market sector, like corporate interiors, or is there like opportunity to kind of, I guess, bounce around different market sectors and kind of explore?
Yeah, so I came to corporate interiors with architecture background. So I kind of became someone who was just jumping around to different studios and different projects. We are called corporate interiors, but we don't just do corporate spaces. That is our specialty. But like you saw, we've done like the Yeti store, we've done other kind of retail stores. Once the CCC studio starts to develop their projects more, I'm sure that we'll be helping, and I think we already are helping with some of the interiors for their projects, which may include not just office space, but retail and other types of spaces.
This is also just one thing in a large firm, every office is different. So if you don't apply to Perkins Will and then pick the Austin office, you pick the Austin office of Perkins Will because the interiors is largely focused on corporate interiors. If you went to Dallas, that would be a lot of healthcare, as well as different, for interiors as well as just the practice. But look at the projects that you like on the website, and then start applying to the offices that design those projects.
And then for the education studio, we do have a group of interior designers, and they do span, can help out here or there, but they're largely focused on education projects. And we even do things such as pick out furniture. So it's not so, between talking about branded environments and doing graphics down to furniture, so there's a wide range that they're picking up as well.
What are you interested in, Ashley?
Yes, I am still kind of, I guess, trying to figure out what I'm interested in. And so that's why I was just like, oh, is there an opportunity to kind of bounce around and figure what out, interests me the most? So.
Yeah, and I would say early on, entering a firm sort of straight out of school, there is that mobility in trying to find out your niche. And that's definitely something here, like as a project architect, I have worked on CCC projects, but I'm mostly education. So there is that flexibility, I think, to sort of dabble and taste into different sectors. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all so much. We really appreciate seeing you and hearing and learning about your firm and taking the time to meet with our students. So.
Great. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This was fun.
I know. I hope we get to visit your office again.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Y'all have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.